Hi everybody, it's Stuart here from People and Process Solutions. Just last video we talked about your CV and some of the things to do to make your CV an absolute winner, easy to read and represent yourself in a professional manner. Today I want to talk about the other end of the spectrum and why this is really important too. The other end of the spectrum is the LinkedIn profile that you have. So we need to get this right as well. And there's a few tips that I'm going to give you in the next couple of minutes as to why that's important and why that will help you find the jobs and be found. So let me tell you what the process is when you're in recruitment. You get the CV through, you open the CV, you have a look. Hopefully it is nice to read and has all the information on there. I scan read it. It doesn't take very long to do that. I get a lot of CVs through. It does not take me very long to realise whether this person is something like the type of person that I'm interested in or probably not quite right. Believe it or not, it's a surprisingly short amount of time once you get used to reading CVs. The next thing I do is I find that person on LinkedIn. So it's really worthwhile. I didn't actually say this in the last video, but it's really worthwhile on your CV putting your LinkedIn account link on your CV so that I can find you really easily. So I go on to LinkedIn and I find you on LinkedIn and see what I can see. Now, let me tell you a little bit of experience that I've had recently. In fact, all the time, it happens regularly. I go onto your LinkedIn account, I have a look, and what I find often is the CV on one side and the LinkedIn account on the other. They don't really tie together in a sort of harmonious way. So it's all a little bit like, on occasions, it can be really out of kilter. It actually looks like it's two different people. So what we really need to do is harmonize the LinkedIn and CV to make it look like you're the same person and give you that sort of harmonized approach. So on your LinkedIn account, number one, believe it or not, people like to see a photo. On the CV, you don't need a photo. Do not put your photo on the CV in this country. Some other countries, in India and places like that, photographs are normal on CVs. In the United Kingdom, United States, it's not as regular to have your photograph on your CV. So get your photograph onto your LinkedIn account though. Get it on there. Now, what I want to see is a nice picture of you, not pulling a funny face, not just a professional picture. If you have a photograph that's been taken professionally, all the better. Otherwise, just a nice picture of yourself. What I had the other day, I had a guy apply for a job as an account manager, and in the medical device world, and he was obviously one of his hobbies was bodybuilding, I think. So of course, what he put on his LinkedIn, believe it or not, what he put on his LinkedIn profile was a picture of him without his shirt on. So what, you got to think, well, what's this LinkedIn profile where's it going to end up? I'm going to put him forward for a job at a medical device company. The first thing they're going to do is check him out on LinkedIn, and they're going to see a picture of the guy without a shirt on. So got to think about this. It's like, how does it look? Keep it professional. So a nice photograph of yourself. There's also a facility to put a banner on there. Now, some people do. I have a banner, but there again, I'm a company. My whole life is on LinkedIn. A nice banner is not a bad thing to have. It's nowhere near as important as the photograph, though. It's been proven that people who have a nice photograph on the LinkedIn account get more attention than those people that don't have a photograph on the LinkedIn account. Fact of life. So if you're not shy, get a photo on there. That's what I would say. The next thing to talk about is your work experience. So when you go through your work experience on LinkedIn, it needs to match your CV. I get it all the time where LinkedIn doesn't really have any work experience on, everything's CV orientated. I mean, this day and age, that's not good enough. And I get other ones where, there are more work experiences on the LinkedIn account than what there are on the CV as well. Whichever way around it is, it needs to match. What's on your CV needs to match what's on your LinkedIn, make it match. So when you've worked at a company, for example, if it was Abbott Nutrition, big pharmaceutical company. If you've worked at Abbott Nutrition, you can go on to your experience at Abbott Nutrition, and then you can actually make sure that you get the right company on that piece of experience. Especially these big companies, because they have several LinkedIn pages. So what I find sometimes is people have linked their experience to the wrong part of a big organization. Or the other thing I find regularly, especially with smaller companies, is that they haven't linked to that company's LinkedIn page at all. So if it's Fred Blogs medical equipment, then I don't got a clue. I know what Abbott Nutrition do. I mean, they're a big company. Of course, I know what they do. I don't know what Fred Blogs medical equipment does. So I need to understand what they do so I can get a picture of what you're all about. So I need to know what Fred Blogs medical equipment does. So if you have that link to Fred Blogs medical equipment LinkedIn page, I can easily click on that. I go through to their website, onto their page, and I can say, oh yeah, right, that's a medical device company and blah, 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 so that I know that you've been selling medical devices. I get a picture. It helps just to build the picture about yourself. So get all those set up correctly and completely so that they align totally to your CV. It's really, really important. Then the other one I had the other day is I had one through, and every single role that this person had done on LinkedIn didn't have an end date on it. So every single role, they were still present in that job. So that obviously wasn't correct. They'd just not done it properly, basically, or didn't understand quite what to do. So get your roles down, get your start date and your finish date set so that they match the CV. And then we can say, oh yeah, he was at Fred Blogs Medical Equipment once again for 2 years. And then he moved on to Abbott Nutrition. He was there for 5 years. And then he moved on to blah, blah, blah. We've got start dates, finish dates for each position. We can see the progression. We can see what you've done. If you had a big career break for some reason or other, yeah, well, no, not a problem. People have career breaks these days. Put it into your LinkedIn experience. I had a career break and I did this. I went traveling around the world. My parents became ill and I needed to be the full-time carer. Put it in there so that people understand what this missing time is. It's not an issue. People have career breaks all the time. It's not a weakness in any way, but it's good to see on the LinkedIn profile if you're happy to do that, of course. Just put in what you're happy to put in though. Don't feel you have to force it, but it needs to tell the story. So the other thing that you might not know, you maybe do, maybe don't, but if you're a recruiter, you don't have the same version of LinkedIn that most people have. You buy a really expensive version of LinkedIn, which allows you to do loads and loads of searches on people, on companies that average LinkedIn doesn't allow you to do. So one of the facilities on your page is to set your profile as open to work or casually browsing for new opportunities, and also put the open to work banner around your picture. Now, if you set your profile to open to work, that does not mean that you're going to get the banner. You can separately select the banner. Not everybody likes to have that banner around them. They might not want their existing company to know that they are unhappy and looking for work or looking for a progression or whatever it is. So you don't have to. One doesn't go with the other. If you're looking for a job, set your profile. If you're actively looking for a job, set your profile to open to work. Now, what this does is it allows the recruiters out there in the world to, with a very expensive version of LinkedIn, to search for people that are open to work and do a whole raft of other searches as well. So that if you set that up, that when they do a search, it will pull you through as open to work. Oh yeah, this guy's open to work. He became open to work. Blah blah blah. He's looking for an opportunity. I'll go and have a look at him on LinkedIn, which is really why your profile needs to be good. If you happen to put the banner around yourself that says you're open to work, then anybody can see that. So people without the really expensive, not every recruiter has the really expensive version of LinkedIn, by the way. Some of the other recruiters will also be able to see that you're open to work, and other company directors as well. People in, if you're whatever line you're in, it doesn't really matter, but other companies that are aligned to that and maybe looking for a quality person, a technical person, and will see your profile that you're, right, this guy's quite interesting and he's open to work. What's he done before? He's a technical manager. What's he done? So literally, you can put that banner around yourself if you're happy to do that, and it will help in your search for a new job. The other thing is, of course, LinkedIn's a computer program ultimately, as we all know. So keywords are quite important. So when you're writing about your experience at each company, I strongly suggest that you use some keywords that represent the things that you did at that company. So I was an account manager, I was a quality compliance person, and I was responsible for the ISO 13485 standard and XYZ standard. I was responsible for accounts in the northeast of England, or I was responsible for all export that was going on within the company, within Asia Pacific, whatever it happens to be. So literally put plenty of information in there that will allow the little bots that are within these computer programs to get through it and go, yeah, when Mr. Recruiter does a search, he may do a search on Asia Pacific account manager, and if you don't have Asia Pacific in there, you're not going to show up in the search. So literally get plenty of keywords into your profile. You've got more space on LinkedIn than you have on your CV. You've only got a maximum, remember the last video, you've got a maximum of 3 pages. On LinkedIn, you've got more space. But it's the same thing. You've got to be careful with that space. You've really got to try and keep it focused, because if you start writing novels on there and autobiographies, once again, you've got to think, nobody has got time to spend an hour reading about your profile, as interesting as it may be, as harsh as that sounds. It's true. You've got to keep it concise, keep it punchy, and remember, your CV is your hook and your taste, but your LinkedIn account is also the hook about you. It's not everything about you. It's kind of, you go onto the CV, yeah, there's enough there to get me onto the LinkedIn account. You go onto the LinkedIn account, you go like, okay, I've got these 2 documents now. I've got the LinkedIn account, I've got the CV. Yeah, this person's really matching what the job profile is for the job that I'm filling. And so it's got to be a further hook, a further sales pitch in a way about yourself, a taste of you that will be interesting and make your application progress to the next stage, which is getting it in front of the client, of course. And then they go around the full circle again. They then go around the full circle that the recruiter's gone through. They get the CV and then they go on to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is important, really. You can't really do without it these days, and it's miles more important than your CV libraries or your Indeeds or anything. And I'm not saying that don't do them. Yeah, do them as well. But LinkedIn is the one, really. Really put the effort into it. Make it work for you, and I think you will see the benefits. So anyway, I hope that little bit of insight that I've just given helps. And if you want me to have a look at your LinkedIn account, just message me on LinkedIn. How many times in this video have I said the words LinkedIn? Oh, God, loads. Message me, let me have a look at it. I'll do that for free. It's no big deal. Same with your CV. If you want me to have a look at your CV, send it over. I'll have a look at that and give you some thoughts on it, what I think about it. Then it's kind of up to you. I can help you on it as well if you want. But anyway, there you go. More free consultancy from myself. So anyway, I hope you have it's Friday. It's Friday again. Where do these weeks go? I hope you have a really good weekend and happy job hunting.